COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus, is a global pandemic, so there's no surprise to know that it is affecting the drone industry. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that. Taylor Mitcham here from Dronero, the channel that helps you grow your income as a drone pilot. And let's go ahead and break down how COVID-19 is affecting the drone industry into three main categories. The first category being supplies, the second category being employment, and the third category being contractor work. So how are supplies being affected? Well, quite frankly, you can't get any. You've probably gone to your local grocery store and seen the shortage of toilet paper. Well, the same thing is happening with various drone parts and components, and there's lots of reasons for that. Number one, China was shut down for a while, so manufacturing is probably behind original projections on where they thought it was going to be. Travel internationally and trade internationally has been slowed down due to the pandemic, and of course it's now taking longer to get certain parts and pieces because shipping pipelines are being used for more critical things such as medical equipment, ventilators, masks. So here's my advice: if you're looking for supplies, plan on it taking longer than normal. And unfortunately, there's really no way around it unless you know a local dealer who has stuff in stock. But other than that, it's going to take as long as it's going to take. And I wish I had a better answer for you on that, but it is what it is. The second category is employment. And when I say employment, I mean somebody who's an employer-employee relationship. You have 40 hours a week, 30 hours a week, a general schedule, benefits, all that stuff. So what I've seen from various employers are three main things. Number one, everything is fine and operating as normal. Pilots are still going out doing their jobs. Two, some people are being asked to take mandatory paid or unpaid leave. And three, being laid off. For the people who are typically operating relatively normally, of course, there's going to be some challenges there with this. These people typically work in businesses that are considered, or for businesses or companies that are considered essential, such as critical infrastructure inspection. That's big within the drone industry, or something that has to do with the Department of Defense. But if your employer has work that is considered essential by the Department of Homeland Security, and I'll put a link to that in the description box below, so that way you can see what work is considered essential and what work is not considered essential. If your work's considered essential, more than likely it's not fully affected like other companies, other businesses where their work is considered essential. Again, I gave that example about critical infrastructure. That would include transmission lines, wind turbines, cell towers, lots of other things. Now let's talk about the furlough mandatory leaves I've been seeing. I've been seeing mandatory paid leaves, mostly paid leaves, between 1, 3, and 6 months. A lot of these are voluntary. You can volunteer to take them. I'm sure at some point they're going to be mandatory, but we're still in the relatively early stages of this pandemic. So I would say, keep doing what you're doing at work and take it day by day, because this situation is so fluid. It changes every single day, and it also is dependent upon many different factors. Does your state have a shelter-in-place order? Are you traveling to another state with a shelter-in-place order? Like I said, it's fluid and it changes day by day. And the other thing I've been seeing are people getting furloughed or laid off, and in those cases it's very unfortunate. But I would recommend, if you're in this situation where you have been furloughed or you have been laid off, there are companies out there still hiring. On the flip side, though, there are companies that have put up hiring freezes, and a lot of companies aren't doing in-person interviews or really doing any interviews at all. So it really just depends on the company, but there are still positions out there. The next category is contract work. So if you have your own business or you're an independent contractor, how are those being affected in the industry? And it depends. It really does depend on the type of work that you do. So again, if you're doing essential work and you're considered an essential worker, a lot of those projects are still continuing. Some of them are being delayed. Some of them are being reprioritized over other things that are more important. But from what I've seen personally, for the most part, a lot of those critical infrastructure projects are still moving forward. as scheduled, and in some cases even being accelerated because of what's happening. If you're in the events industry, a lot of events are no longer happening. So that's probably going to slow down significantly. Some states I've seen have not deemed real estate as an essential industry. If you're in real estate, you may see a slowdown on that. The real estate industry in general is slowing down now. As an industry slows down, you'll see UAS work in that industry also slow down. But this is a temporary situation. This pandemic, it's a temporary situation, and like I said, it's fluid and it changes every day, every hour, sometimes every minute. So one thing I will say, before you go out to any job, any client, any work, whether you're employed, whether you're an independent contractor, whether you're a supplier, manufacturer, whatever you are within this industry, is to double check before you do anything, because things change so quickly. Things are so fluid, like I just said. It's hard to give definitive answers, and that I know that's probably not super helpful to hear, but there's no blanket statement the UAS industry is going in X direction, because it really depends on what area you're working in. Like I said, a lot of critical infrastructure has been deemed essential, and those jobs are continuing forward. Things on the more creative side that are deemed essential, a lot of that is slowing down. But again, everything is temporary and everything can change in a split second. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the notification bell, the like button, and subscribe so you see the videos that I put out to help you grow your income as a drone pilot. I'm Taylor Mitcham. This is Dronero. Fly safe.